Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, Twitter universe, all our peoples, them, everyone who's checking for the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast, welcome back for episode 2 of the
That's
Man
it,
Knows
man.
Hip Hop podcast with me, your co-host Slack, and my co-host extraordinaire, my guy, E
E
Major.
major, E major, man. Glad to be here, man. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited, man. We're here, man. Another episode. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast that knows and celebrates hip hop. We're here, man.
Yeah, man. Bless up, man. Listen, I just wanted to say, or we both want to say, thank you to everybody that subscribed, that's given us feedback, that's taken time to watch our last podcast, man. We appreciate you highly. Thank you
Definitely.
so much, man, for everything. We really appreciate the feedback. It's been so positive, and people are liking what we were doing. So, as I promised you guys, we're gonna continue to make this the best hip hop podcast, your go-to one-stop shop, and just keep checking for us every week, man. We're just gonna elevate up and up. So thank you so much. We really appreciate that. E, what are you feeling, man?
100%, man. Like you said, man, it's been overwhelming. You know what I mean? People's just really been supporting it, watching it. You know what I mean? Commenting on the points in the video that we done, throwing suggestions at us, man. It's been really good, man. And like I've said a few times, this is for the culture. This is for just those who love hip hop, man. We're just two individuals that love hip hop, love talking about it, and it's here, man. So yeah, stick with us, man. It's gonna get better and better, man. So yeah, appreciation, man. Always much love,
Yeah,
man.
big up. And I just go add in one more thing before we get started on this week's topic, man. So you might notice this week I've got the PSG guy.
Boy.
Right? PSG, Messi, right? I don't want to hear no Arsenal talk until Arteta's out of here. All right.
All
So
right.
yeah. So
Arsenal strike,
that's
yeah?
how we're rocking. That's how we're rocking. I'm turning
So we
coach.
did. So
That's how we do it.
turn coat, Arsenal strike, All right,
That's
man. We
it,
have to
man.
see,
Forget
man.
the boys there, man. You know what I mean? So this week, me and E have decided on a topic of music overload.
Mm-hmm.
In this day and age, we're seeing way too much music being released. We're seeing something coming out every single Friday. We're seeing artists dropping once a month. We're seeing artists dropping like 3-4 times a year. And coming from where we come from, when hip hop albums were released once every 2 years, if you were lucky. Now we're seeing so many albums coming out, man. So we just wanted to have a little exploration of what's happening nowadays with the release of music. Is there such a thing as too much music? Is there a sweet spot in when these artists should be releasing music? Who's dropping stuff consistently good, and who's just dropping too much where you just can't take no more, man. It's just too much. So we're gonna get into that. So E, man, hit us off, man.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's going on?
Man. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm passionate about this topic because I love music, man, as we all do. Do you know what I mean? You've tuned into this podcast today because you love music. We all love music, not just hip hop. I love music in general, man. And you don't want to. How can I put it? We're part of the culture. We love the culture. We want to hear what's dropping. We want to hear what's new. But I want to give props to Slack at the moment, man. Props to you, my bro, because you're always saying, there's no such thing as getting to music late. Do you know what I'm saying? And I really like that statement when you made it because I'll be honest, I put my hand up. Sometimes you can almost feel like, oh man, I'm late to this. I'm late to that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when things used to drop back in the day, you go to the record shop. Yeah, there's sometimes you might be there. I remember when Takao dropped, I was there first day. You know what I mean? Other records we can say first day I'm there. You're waiting for it. We get the Source magazine or the posters, and it'd be say out on such and such a date. We're there waiting for it. We get that. But most of the time, I can only speak for myself. But most of the time, I get to it when I get to it. Do you know what I'm saying? It drops. Go to the shop. I get it. Blah blah blah. But I guess now because we have obviously streaming and things like that, and it's like something's dropping this Friday, you almost feel like I need to hear it this Friday. Do you know what I'm saying? You can if you're not careful, you can almost feel like, if I haven't heard it by such and such a time, I'm late to it. Do you know what I mean? Especially because now with the internet age, man, you're gonna get 1,000,000,001 reviews of that album within 2 hours. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like before you even get to hear it, so many people have already begun speaking about it. So you almost want to say, let me just hear it before everyone else starts talking about it because I want to just get a feel for it myself. Do you know what I mean? You've either got to do it that way or not listen to it for a week or so just to be able to get into it in yourself. You get me? But yeah, so I just feel like music, we get too much of it. And even as a music lover, it seems mad to say, but certain artists are dropping too much music too often. Do you know what I'm saying? So you said a good statement there, the sweet spot of music, man. For me, I genuinely feel like the perfect time for an album or in between drops is 12 to 18 months, man. Like, let us live with that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I think if you're giving us an album today and we're sitting with that for like a year, I know a lot of other music is going to drop. I think a year is just like a good time, man. Like 12 to 18 months. I think after that kind of 12-month mark is probably when you're going to start feeling to yourself, I'm ready for more from this artist. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And that's definitely how it felt in our era. Like you said at the beginning, man. Probably 2 years, every 2 years you're getting an album. I mean, what do you feel is the perfect time for like a drop, an artist to drop?
For me personally, man, 18 months to 2 years for me, because
Okay.
I remember when albums used to drop every 2 years, right? So if we were lucky, by the way, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if we're lucky, we'll get one every 2 years. And I think that worked because that will give an artist a time to grow. Like they'll talk about, you can literally see progression on these artists' albums, because by
Good
the time
point.
they do their debut, you see the progression in between that album and the second album.
Mm,
So you know, we're both Redman lovers. So
yeah.
from what he did on What the Album, you then got like a 2 year wait until There Is a Dark Side, and they're two completely
Completely different
albums.
albums.
The first one was very kind of happy-go-lucky, jokey, I get high, how to roll a blunt, Redman.
Mm,
And then the next album, he's talking about, boy, I've smoked too much weed. I'm 6 billion feet beneath. Like
mm,
so there was like genuine progression there, as in like you've had a 2 year wait, and this is what's happened in those 2 years. So
mm.
we're getting something completely different. But I think what's happened now is, because music is dropping so much, we're getting the same stuff on every album. There's no time for an artist
Yeah.
to progress and tell us anything different, as in what's happening like what's going to happen in your life between January and February 2021.
Right.
Do you know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So they're just giving us the same stuff. I wear this, I do this to hose, I'm in the club, I'm doing this and whatever. So I think 18 months to 2 years gives an artist enough time to think, I've actually traveled, I've done this, I've done that, and now I've got something to write about.
That's a very good point, man. Yeah, that's a good point because, like you said, with the whole, Redman, what there is a dark side, as you said on the episode as well, that there was a major differences in his life even in that time. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? Um, and I think growth is an important thing because that's what begins to make albums sound the same.
mm,
Because truthfully, they might be dropping him in different segments or what have you, but like a lot of it might be recorded in the same period of time. I mean, like for me, um, I know we kind of slightly differ on opinions with this, but like with Benny the Butcher, the whole Pirates Picasso that he just dropped, right?
mm.
Or dropped a few weeks ago, what have you. Bro, I was mad gassed about that because I like that a lot. For me though, I felt like I was a Benny fan. Not was, I'm a Benny fan. I like Benny the Butcher. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, his earlier work, Tanner Talk Free, we know Plugs I Met, all of that. We know. Up to that point, you kind of felt like, right, Benny's a
He's the
whole
guy.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, man.
Mm.
But then I just felt like after that, things were obviously just not feeling as consistent. Do you know what I'm saying? Without getting too deep. And then when the Pirates Picasso dropped, for me, it felt like Tanner Talk Free Benny again, or Plugs I Met Benny again.
Mm.
So I was just like, yeah, because I think after that we was having before that we was having soundtracks and just different things, man. So the point I'm making anyway is that someone was saying to me that he recorded a lot of that stuff around that time.
Yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I'm
You
saying?
can tell by the sound and
Right.
what he's saying. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why it
Yeah.
felt good because it was from that season. But the point I'm making is that because it was around that season, it had that same feel. So if you're recording stuff around all around the same time, but just packaging it and selling it at different times, it's still going to have the same feel. So if
Mm.
you're doing that often, multiple times a year, stuff ain't feeling fresh, no
Basically,
matter how
man,
you
that's
package
how
it.
I feel about it, man. Like, I feel that artists need to feel music. I think that they need to
Mm,
feel that they're ready to record. And I think that some of them maybe are getting maybe pressured into releasing stuff frequently because of the way that music is being consumed
100%,
now.
100%.
From how we used to consume music, we would have to live with an album because we get the single that might come out, let's say summertime, 1994, whatever. Let's use Method Man as a perfect example, right? So we had the Method Man single that was actually on the Wu-Tang album. So when Method Man came out, we was like, rah, who's this dude? Like, why has he got his own tune on the Wu-Tang
album?
Right. And no one else had their own tune. It was just him. So obviously they were pushing him to be the star.
To be the lead, yeah, exactly.
And he had like 4 singles off that album. He had Bring the Pain, he had All I Need, he had Release Your Delf. And I swear he had another one. He did something.
Bring the Pain, Release Your Delf, All I Need. I can't remember. I've gone blank.
There was 4, but anyway.
But yeah, he had a few, yeah.
Right. So we had Bring the Pain, and we were like, this is sounding crazy. So we got to live with that single, play it over and over again in anticipation about what was about to come. When the album came, some of us were disappointed. Not gonna say no names. E, right?
Bro, definitely. I'm not gonna lie. Bro, definitely.
I was too, man. I ain't gonna front. I was too, right? But that single gave us time to really build up that anticipation for what was coming, whether or not we liked it when they dropped or not. We were anticipating the album dropping. We don't get that now. We don't get that opportunity to anticipate anything because people just hit us over the head. Boom! Album dropping. So I think artists might feel that they have to drop because of the way people are consuming music. So literally they know that their fans will be like, I've literally seen this happen, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen this happen too. An album will drop on Friday at midnight, right? Or Thursday at midnight, whatever it may be. Literally by midnight the next day, people are saying, when's your new shit dropping? I literally saw an artist, I think it might have been Rome Streets actually.
It was Rome Streets, yeah, it was.
He basically said, bro, I've literally just dropped an album a week ago and people are asking me for my new shit. Like, it's crazy how this is happening. Like, this would never have happened before. And the funny thing is, like, it was that much of a time period between albums. When DMX dropped 2 albums in a year, that was unheard of. It was to the point when I walked in the store, because I wasn't really expecting it. So when I walked in the store and I was like, hold on a minute, is that a DMX album? Right? Yeah. I was like, is that some bootleg, or because he's covered in blood in a bathtub?
Yeah, that's a whole messy artwork, bro.
Is this an actual album? Or so when I bought it and I was like, this is an actual album. It was a shock because we never saw that before. Then we saw No Limit doing it in around 97. Like in the source, there was like new No Limit, and then it would have all the features on there.
Trust me, yeah.
When it's being released, you're like, okay. Then the next week or the next issue, there's a next album dropping, and they will literally bang, 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 just smacking through the albums, and that was unheard of. So again, and every album had like 30 tracks on it as well.
30 tracks in it. Yeah. But that's all they would do. They would just be in the studio like all day, just record, man.
So I don't know if that set a precedent for artists now with the work ethic to make people think I'm working, I'm in the studio. But I think, yeah, just the way people have, like, we didn't have music on our phones. Like, our phones barely made calls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we had to go out and buy music. We had to get off our artists, shower, come out the yard, find a way to get to the shop, put the money down, and take the disc in exchange. We couldn't just go bing and call it a stream or whatever. We had to go and physically purchase this music. So artists would take time to give us something. Now they know that you've got something in the palm of your hand that can access their music. Maybe they feel that they have to keep feeding us because they might get forgotten about amidst the thousands of other MCs that are dropping. Yeah.
And bro, see it like this as well, man. What you're saying about us having to get up and buy music, we're spending like whatever £12 to £15 on one album.
Yeah.
People are spending like, I don't know, $7.99, $9.99 for a streaming service now with millions of albums at their disposal. We're spending that money, like, for us, like, especially summer 94, 95, that's like little side hustle or little pocket money or little weekend jobs that we're buying albums with. So we're going to live with that and listen to it and appreciate it. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if they was dropping as often then as they are now. People that are
Yeah, you'd be
spending out
broke.
without streaming service, bro, you couldn't keep up.
Because
So I think streaming's done it.
singles were $7.99 back then. Like not even an album. I remember I paid $7.99 for the How High single.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I actually remember the price stamp on my thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
it's
was like,
actually mad. Mm.
what? Yeah.
No, it's actually true. But no, yeah. But I mean, you had artists like Jay-Z, that was probably, correct me if I'm wrong, or comments, whatever you. He's probably one of the first artists that I really remember um, consistently dropping every year. Do you know what I mean? For a good 6 or 7 summers, man. Obviously, he had the break off before Kingdom Come,
Mm.
but he was dropping every single
Every
year.
year, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ja Rule was doing that as well. I'm not a Ja Rule fan.
I've
Let me
never
just
heard
make
of
that
him.
clear. Nah, nah. So what it is? He's an artist. He's about
Really?
4 foot tall. Yeah, nah, I'm joking. Nah, he's a rapper, right? He makes a lot of pop music. Nah, he's all right. I mean, in a sense of who he is and what he does. All right, who's doing his thing? I mean, we've had that discussion. Who's doing his music? But he tapped into that. It's supply and demand, isn't it? Like Jay-Z had the audience. Ja Rule had the audience. Do you know what I mean? Supply and demand. You mentioned DMX, supply and demand. They knew they were big at the time. They wanted to drop another one the same year. There was business side of things with the whole DMX saga. But with people like Ja Rule, Jay, they knew they had the following. All in Def Jam knew they
I
had
was
the
gonna say they were
following.
all Def Jam artists, so
All Def Jam artists,
yeah,
yeah. So obviously, there was something in there. They had the backing, they had the promotion, they had it. They're dropping these things every year because they knew people were lapping it up. Do you know what I mean? People were buying it, and Jay Z mentioned that a few times, saying, "Man, I'm consecutively dropping." I think 99, was it 99? No, 2000. La Familia, the Dynasty album,
Mhm.
was meant to be like a Rockefeller collaboration album, ended up turning it into a Jay-Z album. He thought it would have sold more and add to his yearly drop run. Do you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it's something that wasn't, even if it wasn't only Jay and Ja Rule, I'm sure there's other artists doing it, like you said, Master P, other people. But they were some of the ones that stood out as doing it. The point I'm making is that it wasn't a common thing. You know what I'm
Nah, it
saying?
was
You weren't seeing artists drop every single year. For me, I felt like that was a good time because if you like an artist, you can live with that music. You're playing that music. You're getting the singles. They're probably going to be featured on other little things as well. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that 12 to 18 months was a good period of time to really, bro. I don't know how people even know albums by heart anymore.
nah, they
Do you know what I'm
don't.
saying?
They don't. Because feeding nicely into what we were saying last week, bro, like they're calling it a classic and moving on to the next big thing. It's like, yeah, that's a classic. Let me move on to the next one. If that was really a classic, you'd be living with that album every day of your life, just as we did. With every classic album that we was listening to, we would listen to that album every day, every week, every month. And then when they drop something else, we'll still be listening to it. But we'll be listening to a new one as well. You know what I mean? So now it's classic. Let me tweet about it. Yeah. Okay. Classic. Move on. Throw it away. Move on to the next one. Like Kanye dropped his album. Okay. I guarantee you by next week we ain't gonna be seeing hashtag Dondo everywhere. Like everyone's moved on to the
Well,
next.
we might, bro, because I think there was like 150 songs on there, so people are probably still trying to work their way through the album. Man, that was one. I literally listened to it, probably about half of it. Um, Nothing really grabbed me. I just listened to it literally out of interest. But I've not had any desire to go back and listen to the other half. But it's a full old album, man. I think it's like 2 hours long
Wow,
of
you
an
done
album.
better
Do you
than
know
me,
what I'm saying?
bro. I ain't pressed play on not one of them on them tracks, bro.
Yeah, I probably heard. Yeah, I probably heard a few songs. I couldn't tell you any names or anything like that, but one of them weren't too bad. But yeah, man. So
Anyway,
I
best
think
of luck,
that
man. We
sort
don't want
of
to waste time to promoting that dude. So
period. Well,
he's done his own rollout for like 200
um,
or whatever. So
well, yeah.
um,
I'm actually going to mention him later in what I was thinking about, but we'll see. But
yeah,
all
decent
right, so
dude.
we're seeing that. We're seeing that the perfect timing. You say about 18
About
months to
18 months,
2 years. Cool.
years, yeah, for me.
Yeah, I'm saying about 12 months to 18. That's cool. So yeah, around the same sort of um, year and a half to 2 years sort of mark. Who would you say then? Sorry, what would you say is the main reason why you feel people are? I know we just briefly, but why do you feel that artists are dropping music so often though?
Yeah, I think streaming is what's doing it. Like because if you notice as well, there was a period of time where people were dropping deluxe versions of albums and all of this stuff. So I'm thinking it's got something to do with streaming numbers, or you know what I mean, the way that music is being consumed. People are doing a lot more collabs than they used to. Because before you just have maybe one MC, one producer. It wasn't as common to have a million features on your album unless it was part of your crew. So
from your crew, yeah.
right, so if it was like Rockefeller, they'll have Beans, they'll have, you know, the Young Guns, they'll have Emil and all of that shit on there. There wasn't so much outside. So if you had a guest feature like a Scarface, you're like, whoa, there's a Scarface tune on here, or whoa, there's a Busta Rhymes feature on here. But now it's kind of like, okay, they've got this guy, that guy, that. There's literally a feature on 9 out of 12 tracks now.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that just the way that, and I think because you can just literally share files now. You don't have to pay for studio time as like you used to have to. You don't have to get like 10, 12 people in a room, and then you know, you do your verse, I do mine, I rewrite it, and it could take 12 hours to do it. You can probably record like half an album in 12 hours now if you wanted to.
Definitely.
You know, from your bedroom, upload it, all done. So I think just the way music's being made, the way it's being consumed, the way that artists can now interact with their fans, I think that might have had an impact as well, because we never had a chance to interact with our until they, you know, if we were lucky enough to see them at a show, then we might be lucky enough to get a picture or get 2 minutes of their time to talk to them or whatever. But now I could literally put up a tweet now and I can get a DJ Premier or whoever like responding back, and it's like, right,
yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, so that's definitely changed as well. So they can literally see how their fans are feeling about what they've done, anticipating what's coming out. They can literally send out a tweet, when do you think I should drop again? So if they get like a load of people saying drop again in 3 months, they'll be like, all right, I've got some stuff on deck. I could throw out a little EP to keep them sweet.
That's true, yeah.
And look at how someone like Griselda drops music. Like they'll be like, oh, I've got a mixtape, I've got an EP, I've got a collab album, and then my debut's coming. Just like,
bro,
which one's your debut? Like, you've just given me 7 albums. Like, which one is your debut project? So
that's too much, man.
Too much, man. So all of it is just getting kind of just convoluted and difficult to keep up with. So, but I think that the way that fans are able to interact and tell them what exactly they feel, I definitely think that that's had an impact as well, man. So there's just so many different factors as in why I think the landscape of music releases has changed over the years, and here we are.
It's almost like we're I know I use the term a lot, but it's almost like we're victims of our own success, because it's like we want to be able to reach artists, we want to be in a situation where we're seeing music drop regularly and have access to that easily. Do you know what I mean? If someone told us about streaming in '92, we'd be like, you're joking, really? We'll be able to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's almost now like it's almost counterproductive in a way, because it's like you said, people are feeling like, you know, putting it out there, see what the people are saying, dropping 3 months, and I think a big factor is as well, they don't want to. It's almost like they don't want to be forgotten. Do you know what I'm saying? Because think about it, I know we refer to, you know, our time a lot, but you know, that's the era we're from. You would put something out, it's only going to be concerts, shows, sales, things like that, where you're really going to know people are feeling your stuff, innit? I've seen artists in interviews and that say they didn't even know they were that big until they went to a show, and it was crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? They didn't even know they were that popular, especially depending on what kind of deal you got. You're not sure how much money you're getting.
Some of them went to go overseas and they're like, wow, I didn't know people knew about me in London.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So it's almost like that. People, but now you're seeing, like you said, you drop something on, you're seeing people, if they're into it, if they're liking it, if they're talking about it. You know, people can see that you're speaking about them on Twitter, even without you having to at them. People can, it must, I don't know if it alerts them or what, but their names are mentioned and they see it. So the point I'm making, they might feel like, oh, I haven't dropped nothing for 3 months. I haven't really, no one's really talking about me right now. I better put something else out. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just like too much music, to a sense where I don't want to say real people that really appreciate it, because that would belittle people that enjoy the regular drops, and I'm not doing that. But people like myself, that's all I can say, is that like to spend time with music.
Mm.
I actually don't like that era. You know what, bro? People are gonna think I'm mad, but let me tell you something. I went through a stage, right? I actually went through a stage where I didn't listen to mixtapes. And I know this sounds crazy, but let me explain why. I went through a stage where, when the whole mixtape thing was really kicking off, I didn't want to listen to mixtapes, because I felt like, even back then, I was my mentality was, I'm not saying it was the right mentality, but my mentality was just give me the album. You see what I'm saying? I
Mm.
don't mind hearing a few freestyles over other beats if it's on like a Flex CD or a DJ Clue tape or something like that. I get that, but I don't want to hear no mixtapes. Just give me the album when it drops or what have you. I
Mm.
was even at that stage in like my late teens, early 20s, where I felt like mixtapes always flying out. It was too much, especially when we went through the era where it was just like, and I'm glad for what mixtapes have done for the culture, and what they do for the artists. But it just got to a point, even in that time, when mixtapes were almost more important than albums at one
Yeah.
stage. I felt like, man, I don't even want to hear no mixtapes. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think there's a little bit of that in me that I still have. I rather you just give me the album and you're giving me it. Don't keep giving me these little EPs or
Maybe
these
that's
little.
because of what you're used to, like because you're used to
Mm,
the every 2 years
yeah,
and waiting for an album to come out. If they've dropped something fire previously, then you're gonna wait for more fire or hope
right.
that there'll be more fire on the album. I totally hear you with regard to the mixtapes because I kind of felt similar. That there's a load
Mm,
of mixtapes that I never got to because
same
again, it was just too much. And I was probably still listening into that artist's actual album, so
album.
I wasn't bothered about the mixtapes. The mixtapes didn't really entertain me anyway until 50 started doing them because that was the
Yeah,
lead
of
up to
course.
Get Rich, which was massive. So at that point, I was checking out the mixtapes because what he was doing was different.
Yeah, we needed that. Yeah.
He was taking other people's songs and killing them. So it wasn't like he was doing songs that might not be on the album or
Yeah.
you know what I mean. He was actually and that was great promotion. So that felt different. But then
Mm,
people would say Wayne's the greatest mixtape artist,
mixtape.
all that
Mm,
kind of stuff. And then I'm like, okay, but there might have been some stuff that I missed because I'm not about to listen to 100,000 mixtapes on top of albums as well. Um,
right.
so if they're talking about someone like him being, you know, a great album artist, then I would have to disagree from what I've heard anyway. But if you're going to say
Definitely.
great mixtape, I'll say okay, yeah, he's got some decent mixtapes that people like. Um, but yeah, I think that again leads into the saturation. They were flooding like every week. There was like this DJ, that DJ will drop into, and most of them had the same tracks on them. There was just
Yeah,
like
of
little
course. 'Cause-
tiny
yeah.
variations of songs that
Mm,
was on them. Just like which one do I get? Do you know what I mean?
mm.
But yeah, there was a lot of that as well for sure.
So who do you feel is like some of the biggest culprits of the overloaders?
What nowadays?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to say like one artist that I actually really check for, to be honest. But he does release a hell of a lot of music. Is Currency.
Mm,
Um, I really got into Currency in and around 2009 when he started his Jet Life movement and he was doing music with Ski Beats.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really love like the Pilot Talk series.
Pilot Talk's dope. Mm,
Me and my girl used to listen to that all the time. So I really got into Currency's his whole thing. It was very me. It was just very mellow, chilled out. I'm just talking about linking girls and driving around and smoking and all that. It was
mm.
so I really liked what he was on, and I liked the whole Jet Life movement. And then after that, he was just dropping so much mixtapes in between. And then he'll be like, Pilot Talk 2's coming out. And I'm like, bro, you just gave us an album that
Just
we're still listening to. You gave me another two mixtapes, and now you're giving me an album. And I was just, this is a lot of music, bro. Like I couldn't
mm,
keep up. So although I was into his stuff, it was just too much. And I think he slowed down very slightly now, but I think I read recently he's got an album with this producer, that producer, this artist. So he's got
yeah,
another.
he's still pretty consistent. Yeah.
He's very he's very prolific. He likes to drop a lot of music, and that's cool. But I'm not going to get to it all. There's probably mixtapes that I haven't heard yet that he's dropped, and he does a lot of EPs. He'll do work with Harry Fraud. He'll do another one with Alchemist. You know what I mean? So it's just difficult to keep up with his stuff, man. Even though I like it, I physically can't do it. If he gave me just a Pilot Talk 1, and then next year he gave me a Pilot Talk 2, and then 2 years later he gave me Pilot Talk 3, that would be fine for me, because then I could live with what he's dropped, and I'm cool. But the mixtapes in between and the EPs and everything else, it was overload for me. So 100%. He's one. Another one I'd say has to be in this day and age, has to be Griselda. Has to be.
Definitely.
Again, artists that I very much enjoy. I love Griselda. I love what they brought back to hip hop, that feeling in the music that was missing for a long time. I very much appreciate what they're doing. But again, there was a time where they were just dropping like so much. So you'd have maybe 3 albums from Westside. You might have another 3 from Con. You might have another 2 from Benny. Then you have Boldy James dropping like 4 albums a year or whatever he's doing. And then it was just, so then you feel like because you like them, you want
to check them out.
So although I get to music when I get to it, but if I like someone, the likelihood is that I'm going to check for it sooner. So if Westside drops an album, the likelihood is I'm going to listen to it. If not on the day it drops, the day after, I'll get to it quicker. If Conway drops, I'm going to probably listen to it even sooner, because Conway's my favorite rapper. So if he's dropping, I'm going to listen to it. But again, they've been bang, 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 like since what? When did I discover them? I think I started listening to them in 2015-ish. Because I think I first heard Westside Gun on the Apollo Brown album, Graduate. I think that was the first time I heard him. If not, it was Griselda Ghost or whatever. But then I listened to Fly God, and then that was it. And then since Fly God, they've literally been dropping consistently multiple times a year. So
definitely, man.
So I like them. It's a lot of music. And probably someone else, but this guy's a producer. It's DJ Mkhh.
Okay.
Now, for me, like you could say, but it's a producer, so it shouldn't matter.
I was going to say that.
But for me, if you're dropping music and your beats ain't hitting like they would normally, when you've had time to really sit with an artist, really plan out how you're going to make a fire album. Like I was listening to Premier talking earlier, and he was literally saying, if I'm doing an album with an artist, I will literally sit with that artist and we are going to plan how the album is going to sound. We construct every bit of that album. And you could tell, because when he did J. Rue, when he did Group Home, it was
you get that feel.
When he does Gangstar albums, they're meticulously done. That's why they sound so good. Prime, all sound fantastic. But then he says he's in a different mode when it's singles. So an artist might be like, I need that street banger right now, or I need the intro for this, or I need grimy New York hip hop. So he'll have an assignment for one song, not for a whole album.
Yeah.
So he's not dropping prolifically like that. He's taking time to do it. But I feel like when I listen to Mkhh at the moment, I don't feel like he's taking that time to really get to work with the artist that he's working with. Sometimes it feels like just to have a name attached to an artist. I've got an album coming with Mkhh. Okay, but did Mkhh give you fire? Did he give you his best stuff? Or do you know what I mean? So some of it, to me, sounds a bit rushed, man, if I'm honest. Like some of the beats I could live without, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna lie, man. When you said the producer, my initial thing was like, it's different because producer. The reason I was thinking that it's different is because I'm thinking producers are like a rapper. He's gonna have his sound in it. He's gonna have. I always know a primo beat when you hear it. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting to the point where I always know a Apollo Brown beat. Do you know what I mean? Like you get to a producer style.
Producers though, because we got a million producers now.
No, 100%.
And they all sounding the same, bro.
But sometimes there's that element that you feel okay, or it sounds like it could be like a beat from them. But so my initial thing was thinking, if you're producing that and you've got like different, like even if a producer dropped an album every 2 months, but had a different MC on the project every time, it should have a different feel. Do you know what I'm
Should,
saying?
but the
But
quality of those
right,
beats is not going to stay up here because you're not taking the time to really
you're
sit.
trying to bang things out quick.
You're just
Yeah,
banging stuff out. So some artists might just be taking your throwaway stuff, like literally stuff that you're like, it's all right. And an artist like, yeah, I could work with this. And you're like, all right, take it. Do you know
it's
what I
the
mean?
name. It's the name. Like you said, it's saying
Like
I've
that.
got a Mkh's project.
Right. Yeah.
No,
So
you're
some
right. You're right.
stuff, man, it's just felt very cookie cutter production line. Get it out of here. Do you know what I mean? So,
Bro, I felt like that about Alchemist the last few drops. I ain't even gonna lie.
yeah,
Like,
a lot of people have said that, to be honest, man.
I've definitely felt like that, man. Like, out of the last probably 4 projects, MC projects he's worked on, I don't know, we're all at different stages. You know what I mean? He's not, you know what I mean, D-Rag Dynasty Alchemist like right now, or do you know what I mean, or Prodigy Alchemist. I get that, but it just kind of feels like it definitely feels like an MC's come and like you said, they've been like, yeah, take your pick, bro. And they've just literally gone through a folder. Yep. Not much of his work has grabbed me at all, man. I weren't feeling that Bo Jackson at all. I'm probably going to get slammed for that. And as we all know, I'm a beats over man, beats over bars man. If I got to pick, but and obviously Boldy James ain't the most captivating MC, but I checked it out because I want to hear Alchemist production, but it's just not been grabbing me lately, man. The last few projects he's done, it's
I
felt like that.
mean, I really loved Alfredo. I thought that was brilliant,
No,
man.
that's that was dope. No
Yeah,
doubt about that.
from top to bottom, I think that was hard. Like,
No,
still play that hard, heavy to this day.
100%. That was dope.
Yeah. Oh, and I really like Fetty, but again, that was Freddie Gibbs. So him and Freddie Gibbs have got a ridiculous chemistry. So yeah,
I'm
that's.
mixed on Fetty. I'm not the biggest Fetty fan.
Oh, really? I really love
Seriously, yeah, not the biggest one.
I think he's
Alfredo,
on there.
sick. I love that. And what was the one he done with Conway? A couple years
Oh,
back.
Lulu.
I like that as well.
Yeah,
I haven't
Lulu.
spun it for probably this year. I haven't spun it actually, but I did like that. Do you know what I mean? That was better than probably the feedback it was getting, in my opinion. But you know, certain things, the Haram, the Bo Jackson, a few things I've heard from them, I
Yeah,
just
that's
ain't
what I'm
really.
saying. So yeah, a lot of
Do you
it.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear you on that one, man. So what about you, man? What are your who do you think has got too much music recently?
But straight away, I got to say Flea Lord, man.
Ooh, yeah.
And the reason I want to say Flea Lord is once again, props to you what you said about not getting to stuff late. You get to it when you get to it, but technically, you can probably say I got to Flea Lord late if we want to use the terminology. I didn't discover Flea Lord until People's Champion with Pete Rock, right? I was just listening to music. I can't even remember how I even stumbled across it, man. Obviously, I like Pete Rock's production. It was more Pete Rock I was listening to that album for. I wanted to hear Pete's production. And then it was Flea Lord, and I thought, right, this guy is actually kind of sick. I'd heard his name before, but just never really, you know what I mean, bothered with it. Loved it, man. Loved the People's Champ. It was one of my favorite albums of last year.
Yeah, that was a dope project, man. No
Yeah, I
cap.
loved it, man. Loved it. Still to this day, probably 2 days ago, I was spinning it. There's a lot of heat on there. But anyway, what happened? Because I fell in love with the album, I thought, I know what I'll do.
I'll dig back and see what else he's done.
Bro, you know what
And then you keep scrolling like, rah, this guy's got
Listen,
130 albums.
hey, I thought, yeah, let me go, you know what I mean? Do a little deep dive and feel, bro, I'm still swimming about deep dive. I'm still swimming, bro. I'm like, how? How is
Yeah,
there so much? So anyway, I would literally get to the point where I feel like, all right, I'm up to I'm up to where I need to be now. I've probably heard all of his projects. I'd see another project. Right, what year was that? Listen to that. A lot of it I liked. A lot of heat on it would come. You know, what I mean, I think he's got a lot of good projects. But then just I know it was a something he was doing, dropping every month. I know people have done that before. I remember Shah Stimula was doing that, dropping a project every month. Few people have done that in the past, and okay, but it was just way too much, bro. Like it all began to just be like one
that
big
blend into it.
melting pot of flea.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it
yeah.
was like, and what was happening though, out of each project, like maybe 10 tracks, but you're getting, for me, you're getting maybe 2 or 3 that are repeaters. You know what I mean? That I'm like, yeah, I'll go back to that.
Yeah.
So the rest is just kind of just getting all lost in translation, man. It just got to a point where it was too much. Um, and I'd say I'm a Flea Lord fan.
Mm.
Now I know, bro, like probably about a year and a half ago, I was hearing nothing but props about Flea. Now I'm noticing,
Change
yeah, and I
Yeah.
personally think that's because he's dropped too much.
Mm.
I don't think he has the variation in his style, sound, or voice to drop so often.
I agree.
People will get bored of it. Do you know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
And like I said, I'm a Free Lord fan. I like his music, but even for me, you got too much. Even some of my favorite Free Lord tracks, bro. I probably couldn't even tell you what album they're from. I just know I like that track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Same thing happened at 38. I'm a big 38 Special fan. Um, Big fan. I love his production. Same thing. He drops a lot, or he had dropped a lot for a period of time. So I've done a deep dive into him. Obviously, him and Flea's got a few projects together. Um, so I like these guys. I'm actually fans of these guys, but I genuinely think dropping too often has hurt Flea Lord's brand.
Yeah,
Do
I
you know what I'm
agree,
saying?
man. And like I listened to Delgado the other day, like what he did with Rock. I don't
Mm,
want to feeling that album to be honest with you,
that
but
wasn't.
that made me think, oh rah, let me think about going back and seeing what I might have missed. And lo and behold, yeah,
You're
well,
gone.
I was scrolling through. A dude must have dropped like 12 projects. I think he was trying to aim for a project a month or something last year.
Yeah, that's exactly what he done. Yeah, last
Yeah,
year he
so
done a
I
project
literally
every month.
oh, I didn't get like I've got it, but I didn't get to that. I didn't get to that. I didn't hear this. So yeah, same as you. Like I like Flea Lord. He's cool, but it's just too much for me, man. It's too much music for me to get through. So that actually put me off going back
Right.
to like where do I start? Like where's that gem gonna be? Should I start with
Mm.
this one? And yeah, then I just left it. I was like, I'll just go to someone who dropped one album last year. It's cool.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think if he sort of just imagine, like I said, on the project, 2 or 3 bangers on each. If he took them all and dropped like just one
One,
album,
yeah, exactly.
bro, he'd have classics on his hands. He'd have
Exactly.
modern day classics on his hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just too much, and it just gets lost. So he's more been able to say, yeah, I've dropped an album every month. But bro, who's really gonna even be thinking of them or remembering them like that? It's too
Because they
much. I
come and
mean,
go. That's why they come and go.
and he's a perfect example of that. And I wanted to use him as an example because I'm passionate about that because I like Flea Lord. It's
Mm,
easy to say it against Ja Rule or someone who you're not a fan of, but I like Flea Lord, and it even had that effect on me. Do you know what I
right.
mean? So imagine someone who don't really check for him that much.
And they
Like,
just look and think, let me check him out. And they see 100 million, 1,000 billion albums, and they're like, where do I even begin? Where do I
yeah,
start? Yeah, I hear that, man. Anyone else on your list? Who else you got?
boy, he comes to mind. I think they're probably the biggest culprits for me. Yeah, 38, Flea. Um, yeah, I'd probably say they're the ones that initially come to mind, and obviously Griselda, like you said, man, Conway. Do you know what I mean? What was From King to a God was his debut album, innit? But we had
I
like,
don't know, man. I thought Goat was his debut. The
yeah,
guy,
I might be wrong. I think it's From King to a God, but there you go. We don't even know what his
I don't
debut
even know
album
what his
is.
someone said to me, what's Conway's debut album? I'd say Reject 2, but that would probably be wrong. That would probably be like debut street album, and then you have like a debut chart album, and then a daily shady album, and then a daily songs songs for the girls album, and then like so I don't know. I give up. I just listen to it when it drops, and that's it. I've
Yeah.
given up on debut, sophomore, that stuff. So you know what I mean. All right then. So on the complete flip then of that,
Mm.
what about some artists that taking a piss, like don't drop, don't ever drop, and we're constantly asking, where is this album? Like,
Boy,
who do you think is guilty of that?
bro, like the first one that comes to mind, I got to say Jay Electronica, man. Do you know what I
Yeah, man.
mean?
I thought all of you were thinking that one. All of you were thinking Jay.
Definitely. First thing that popped in my mind, man. He's a habitual piss taker, man. I have to put him down as that. You know what I'm saying? And bro,
Habitual
I
line
think
stepper.
100%. And I think in the it might have even been on the TL a couple of days ago. I'm hearing like legend talk and one of the greatest ever. Okay,
What?
like
Who?
listen, Jay Electronica.
All
Like
right.
I'm not even joking, bro. Like for me, definitely, there's no denying that he can rap,
His
man.
ability, of
Come on,
course.
no
Anyone that
denying
ever
that.
denies ability, man, they need to get looked at
Come
immediately.
on, no
Can't,
everything.
but come
Flow,
on,
like
one of the
he's
best. Like
effortless
half
with
an
it.
album. Come on, man.
This is
Don't
what I
get
mean. Like there's no denying that. But what happened, man? It's like you gave us like your exhibits and stuff. Um, your verses, a couple tracks here. Bro, we needed an album like 10 years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like literally. And then
Yeah,
obviously we get the, um, the testimony, witness testimony with Jay,
yeah.
um,
Written testimony.
written testimony.
Mm.
I particularly, and everyone knows I'm a Jay fan. Do you know what I mean? I weren't feeling that. I just weren't feeling that. Do you know what I'm saying? I visited it probably 3 times. Just weren't feeling it. I don't know if it's me or whatever. It just didn't connect with me. I know his album was kind of leaked after that. What should have been his full album. Don't know if you
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
it.
The Peyton's
I didn't
Full
even hear
Release.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I didn't
listened
even
to
hear that.
the tracks. I didn't get to all of it yet. I didn't
No, I
bother.
didn't even hear that. Yeah,
Mm.
and for me, one of the reasons why I didn't even listen to it because I weren't bothered anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
You waiting too long.
Uh, yeah, I weren't bothered anymore. Do you know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I forgot about him. Like
Mm.
literally, when I heard his verse again on the Prime, is it to me to you?
Yeah, fire track.
Bro, come on, man. He literally kills it, bro. I'm like, nah. It's just effortless. He's just incredible MC, man. And then he was meant to do a show in London. Oh, it might have been
Yeah,
like,
I
do
remember. I was meant to go
you
to that.
remember? Same,
Yeah,
bro.
I ain't going to that.
I had tickets and everything, and then it was
Yeah,
cancelled last minute. I think
yeah,
it might
yeah,
have been
yeah.
what 16, 17. I don't know,
Yeah,
2017 or
it was
something.
about to, yeah.
And I was literally going, but look at that. I'm going to a concert off of the strength of a couple singles and verses here.
Mm.
That's how credible he is as an MC.
Yeah,
But
for
when you
real.
think about it, bro, he is the epitome of piss taking. Because it's like, you've literally just whet everyone's appetite and then just given them nothing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, all right, let me hit you with this then.
Mm,
Um, let's say like in the pop world, you've got someone like Adele
mm,
who will drop an album and then let you sit on that for 5, 6, 7 years. And then she'll come back with another one and it will sell like 100 million copies or whatever.
mm.
So, but then I guess it's different because she's actually given us or given her fans something to at least listen to. Jay just gave you potential. So I guess that's maybe different. But I was
This
gonna
is what it is.
say, if an artist has given you something and then he's made you wait until he thinks he has something to say to give you his next album, would you give Jay Alec a little bit more leeway?
100%, bro. If he gave us the album when he should have,
Mm.
dropped even a few singles from it. I'm not really a big video guy. Bare videos I haven't seen. I don't really watch many videos, but
Mm.
gave us a few singles from it, videos. Look, you know what I mean? Here, there, a few remixes, few features. Cool, bro. Like I can live with that. Do you get me? If I
And
really
then
want to hear,
7 years until the next album, I'm cool with that. It's
do
fine.
you know what I mean? If I'm feeling that much, I'll listen to the album. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
exactly.
think
Yeah.
about it. How many MCs are there that you probably only got 1 or 2 albums from,
But
but
you
you
still
still rate them highly because
mm.
it's a quality album? You still
Yeah.
listen to it. Or you don't even know that you've dropped stuff after because you're still maybe only on the first 2. That's cool. But
Mm.
he didn't even do that. So no
Mm.
one's living off a couple singles and a few feature verses for 10 years. Do you know what I'm saying? So if he done that and then gave us an album and literally
Mm.
that's all he'd done, bro, all it means is he would be the Lauren Hill of hip hop. That's all that would be. And look
True.
how people still speak of Lauren Hill.
Yeah,
She
true.
gave us, apart from the score, she gave us 1 album. And she can still do no wrong in people's eyes because they love the album so much.
Yeah, for real.
That would have been him if it was
Yeah.
a quality album, of course. Do you know what I mean? He would have had Just Blaze and everything in it, people on their prime in it at that time, which is a good time for hip hop at that time, man. If he gave us that, I think he would still be spoken about a lot. But he
Yeah, I
didn't. He didn't. Do you know what I mean?
agree.
And it's frustrating because the potential, just from
Mm.
that prime verse, you're like, oh man, listen to
Yeah.
that verse, man. Why
He's
don't you
got
give us
so
that?
many verses that he kills, man. But yeah, you're right.
This is what I mean. But that's probably the last thing I heard. I might be wrong, but that was the last thing I heard before the written testimony album. I think it was that prime feature. But then yeah, that came, and I just weren't really bothered, which is mad because I love Jay, and he obviously Jay
Mm.
Electronica is an incredible MC. I should have been hyped about it. I just
Mm.
weren't really feeling it. But so by the time the album did leak, bro, I didn't want to hear that now. Like I'm literally not bothered.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's how I feel.
um, I'd say him, and I want to throw out one more as well before you say whatever your picks. It's a bit of a weird one, but this is why I said I'm mentioning him again later. Is Kanye. The reason I want to mention Kanye is because I was a big Kanye fan, early Kanye. Production, he's in my top 10 producers of all time. And I always state early Kanye. Like his music, his production, I think, he's got so much classics under his belt. Do you know what I mean? He's had a hand in a lot of classic. I love his productions. I love the stuff that he dropped before. Yeah, early Kanye is a problem, man. I like him. First 4 albums. But the reason I mention him as someone who just takes the piss with their drops, what he done with this whole, for me, I'm not bothered because I'm not a fan like that anymore. But what he done with that whole Donda thing, bro, like, how you having free listening parties and then not dropping the album? Like, you can't do them kind of things. Like, you're literally taking a piss out of your fans, bro.
No,
Like,
he can do that because his fans enjoyed him
allow
taking.
him to, right?
So it's
For
cool.
me, it's not good. And another thing as well, why I mentioned him is because he put out the Life of Pablo album, and I remember it clearly. Once again, going back to what I said about me being a bit irritated by, I think I got slight OCD, bro, because I just like things to be how it's meant to be. Do you know what I'm saying? So my man drops the Life of Pablo, and I get it. I remember getting it, and then he pulls it back and makes changes to it, and then drops it again. And in my mind, I'm thinking, bro, like, I've got it, man. Like, why are you changing it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just think those kind of things, you're just taking the mickey out of your fans, man. Like, you put out the work when you're ready to put it out, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't feel you should. And I know it's his work. People may say it's his, but to turn around and be like, nah, give me that back. Let me just add some changes to it. And now you can take it. 1 minute. Let me put this. Come on. And that's someone I think that's a bit of
I
a
think
piss taker, man.
he tried to con people into believing that his album was some living, breathing piece of art. So it's like, let me change the hi-hat on that tune. Let me put another verse on. Let me take that verse off because I'm not really feeling it anymore. But like you said, what if you like that verse? What if you enjoy that verse and then he just thinks, nah, let me take that shit off. That's why I buy my music. Because I'm not having streaming sites taking stuff and remixing stuff, like looking through track lists. You're like, where's that tune? That was my favorite tune.
Yeah.
That stuff, man. So,
see, for me, I have storage problems. That's why I can't collect because of storage. You know, I mean, I have a few vinyls and like a cupboard full of CDs, but most new stuff I stream, not because I'm a big fan of streaming, but simply because I'm actually one of those people it benefits because of storage. Do you know what I mean? But still, it don't mean just give and take it as you please and tamper with it as you please. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's why I know it's not quite making people wait, but I wanted to mention him because I just think he takes the mickey of his fans, man. Do you know what I mean? And does stuff like that. But yeah, who you got, man?
Well, there's the obvious Kendrick. But again, I think he comes into the category of I'll talk to you when I'm ready. That's kind of the feeling I get from him. Like you ain't gonna rush me into making some subpar shit. I'm gonna make an album that I am ready to give you when I'm ready to give you, or when I've lived something and then I'm ready to talk about, like to Pimp a Butterfly. He was in South Africa and he talks about that on the album, on How Much a Dollar Costs. He talks about one of his experiences there. So if he never took the time to go to South Africa and do whatever he was doing, self-reflection, finding himself, we would never have got one of the best songs on the album.
One of his best tracks, yeah, exactly.
So although I think his last drop was the 2017 Damn,
yeah,
in real terms it'll be about 5 years before he drops his next album, which I think is fair. But on behalf of his stands and those crazy people, then you've got to say that 5 years is a lot of time for them, because they're begging for him to drop an album every day. For me, I think it's fine. As I said, I'm happy to wait until he's literally got something to say, until he's ready to think, I want to talk about this. I want my fans to know about my experiences, and I want to talk about this and make a legacy. Because when you think about it, his albums are good.
I was going to say he's got
together a good discography. Like, he's definitely not I'm going to drop this and like a single here and whatever. He's very calculated.
He's got quality albums,
in what he does. So he obviously takes time to make albums. So I'd have to say him. And someone who's actually kind of tied into Kanye, Sci-Hi the Prince. I'd have to say him because he's a talented rapper. And it would just have been nice to have more from him. So although he's dropped the mixtapes that he did like was it the Ivy League? Something he did like some kind of school series, and then he did like a 2-part sort of like a Black Experience mixtape, which I've got both of them as well, and they were all good. They were all good. They all had tunes on there, great rapping, good production. But then he just didn't have a debut album, so it was almost coming like a J Electronica thing, where it's like, well, not as bad because we had music,
we had stuff, yeah,
but we just never had his official album. And then he dropped that in maybe about the same time. Maybe that was about 2017.
17, 18, yeah. No
Yeah,
Dope on Sundays, yeah. Probably
yeah,
about
yeah.
18. I might be completely wrong, but yeah.
I think it was 7. But anyway,
Yeah.
that really was a good album. So that really kind of heightened anticipation again for us to want some more, because we had heard something from him this time. So it would be really good if we had more, because he is a great rapper. But and I actually had reservations whether he was like one of those rappers who's really good at rapping but can't put together a project. So I was thinking maybe he's holding it back because but what I heard, he really put together a good project. So
yeah,
obviously got it in his locker to do that. So yeah, Sci-Hi would be my second pick, man, or someone who's taken a little bit of time in between. But if they come back and you know, and they drop that fire, I don't care.
it's all good. Yeah. Do you know who just came to mind as well? What do you think about Andre 3000? Then where would you put him in a sense?
Let the man play his flute. Let the man walk the streets
explore
like
the earth.
he wants to do. Let him live his life. Him, Mos Def, Lauryn Hill are among those people that have seen the evils of the music industry and want no parts. So Mos Def said something brilliant the other day where he was like, everyone who's begging me to drop an album, it's my album. I made it. I sat in the studio. I was working with the producers. I was picking beats. Who the fuck are you to tell me when to drop my product?
Did you say that recently?
Yeah. He was on with Talib on Talib's podcast. Right?
Yeah, I ain't watched that, but I've seen it. I've seen like the thing.
Yeah, so you've seen the clip. So when he said that, I was like, he is spot on.
Wow,
He will give you the album when he feels it is time, when he knows he's going to get paid correctly. He will give you the album. So for everyone going, oh, where's the album? It doesn't exist. He's like, it's my album. You might get it, you might not. But whenever you get it, that's when I'm ready to give it to you.
Okay, bro. Sorry, I need to cut you for a minute. I hear that, and as soon as you said it, I thought, "Ooh, I like that." You get me? It's his. But you know what? I'm really gonna take it old school now. But you know Natalie Cole, Nat King Cole's daughter.
Yeah.
Right. I remember there was a bit of an uproar because with her, like she must have been in an interview or something, and people was talking to her about, oh, someone must have said something about, oh, you know, do you feel like you owe your fans a lot or what have you? And she was like, nah, not really. And they was like why? And she was like, because I've put out the quality, and because they like that quality, they buy it.
Right.
If I didn't produce the quality, they wouldn't buy it. So what she's indirectly saying, it's her that's doing it, and it's not the fans doing. And I remember people didn't check for her for a long time. People weren't feeling that. So how do you feel about that though? Because I know what Mos Def's saying. I'm not saying I agree with Natalie Cole, by the way. It's just came into my mind. But like Mos Def is saying it's his art. He'll put it out when he's ready to. But I don't know, man. How do you feel like in regards to like what Natalie Cole's saying? Yes, it's her art, but like we're the ones that are actually funding that art, isn't it? Like we're the ones that are actually purchasing, and the art's for us, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is me playing devil's advocate, by the way.
But people ain't buying music now. People are streaming music, right?
Right.
So if he's paid however much he's paid for studio time, and paid the producer and paid an engineer and all of that, all paid for distribution and all of that kind of artwork, whatever, all of the stuff that goes into putting an album out, we have no rights over any of it. Even once he's released it, we have a right to talk about it. We have a right to debate. We have a right to say whether we like it or we don't. But we have no right to tell him when he drops his album.
Right.
When he drops his album is when he's ready to drop it. Like, what would he be if we forced him to drop an album and it wasn't ready? What if he?
But who's he dropping it for, though? He's dropping it for the listeners, though, isn't it? Otherwise, why has he made it?
Clearly not. He's dropped something that he's made that he wants the world to hear. So he hasn't made it for the listener. He hasn't gone to you and gone, E, tell me what you want to hear on my latest album.
Right.
Tell me what lyrics you want on there. Tell me what. Then he's made it for you, but he hasn't. He's made something that he wants to make, and when he feels that he's ready to put it out into the world, then we'll hear it. And when we hear it, he doesn't care what we think about it or not, because he's made something he wants to make. And if you look through his career, that's exactly what he's done.
What he's done.
When he made The New Danger, that was completely different to Black on Both Sides. Completely different, because he literally said, that's how I felt at the time. That's what I wanted to make. So that's what you got. So many of us didn't like it, but he doesn't care, because he's like, I made what I wanted.
This is what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Right. So if he would die happy saying, I had the career I wanted to have, who the hell am I to question that?
So shouldn't we say the same thing about Kanye then? So I shouldn't really have any right complaining about what he done with The Life of Pablo then, because it's his art.
No, and I didn't complain, because I don't give a shit about Kanye. Number one.
No, but
number
no,
two,
but you know what I mean. The sentiment.
Number two, he's mugging his fans. So if they want to get mugged, then that's absolutely fine and on them. But they're complaining. But he did exactly the same thing, just in a more megalomaniac way.
That's why I'm saying it. Yeah, because it's the same principle.
He was like, listen to it, and then like I might drop it. So he's probably literally going by fan engagement. So if everyone was like, it's the best thing I've ever heard, apart from obviously the people that buy Yeezy slippers and all that shit. If everybody was saying this is like, he would have probably dropped it way earlier. You know what I mean? Until he thought, I'm ready now to drop it. So although people were like having fevers and losing their minds, I was like, he'll drop it when he wants. Like, what are you gonna do to make him drop an album that he doesn't want to drop? Nothing. So just wait. And if because that was meant to come out last year, you know, because he had a tune called Donda that not come out, but he did like a snippet, and I remember hearing it. I thought that sounded like old Kanye. Like there was like a soul sample and all of that. So that was meant to drop last year, and it never came out. So, but again, none of these artists are going to get rushed into what they want to do. Well, that's a lie. The artists I spoke about, Lauren, Mos, J-Elect, these guys, Andre 3000, which is where you started the convo. These guys have made classic music, and they've seen what the industry has done to other people, and they're not interested. They want no parts. It's quite clear. Or they'll come back when they have something to say, as Lauryn Hill did. She came back and she told us, this is what I've been doing. This is why I did it. This is what the music industry is, full of evil people. I'm out here. So you probably won't hear about her again for...
Nah, she done that for Nas, man. That was for Nas. Nas.
Yeah, but she came out and did it. Like she didn't have to. Even if it was Nas, she could have said, listen, I'm not doing music no more. But these artists have literally said, it's not for me. And Kendrick, I guarantee you, same thing.
He's going down the same road.
He's out. He's gone. He's like, I've seen something in this industry, and I want no parts. That's how I feel about that. But yeah. So I'm not mad at them, bro. Like if they don't want to drop it, we just gotta accept it, man. That's what it is.
Yeah, man. So music overload, man. So here we go. We
looked, yeah. So man,
at a few different things there.
About the discussion there, man. If you agree with us, if you don't, as I said, man, I'm always happy for you to disagree with us, because that will create conversation. So if you thought that there was something that you didn't agree with, hit us up and let us know. Or if you do agree, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, tell your peoples about it. We'll be back next week with another topic. Won't tell you what it is yet, but it's gonna be a banger, I promise you.
Good one.
Man, tell the people what's happening.
Yeah, man. Once again, appreciate you joining us, man. Like Slat said, join us next week. Going to be a good episode. We've got a guest on, I'll say that much. So join us next week, man. It's going to be a good one. For now, keep liking, sharing, subscribing. Really do appreciate all the support that's coming already so far, man. Actually overwhelmed by it all, man. And it's all for the culture, man. So, yeah, rock with us, man. Man Knows Hip Hop, the podcast. So, from me, E Major, we're going to sign out this week. And from me, Slack.
Salute, man. Peace.
That's it, man. So be good, man. We'll see you next week. Peace.